episode 9 of the podcast series. Today I have an old friend, Lachlan MacLeod.
How's it going, Rich?
It's great, man. It's great. I mean, it's, another episode on the podcast. It's always a great day. So, man, a lot to talk about. I mean, I haven't really talked to you in a solid year, right?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
As you guys know, I went to Adelphi and Lachlan went to Holy Cross.
Yeah, that's
right.
right.
Where is that? Up in
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. Wow. How is it being home? Nice.
Yeah, it's definitely different. It's so different being at school and then at home in so many different ways. Just
the environment.
Style,
right?
environment.
Yeah. No, man, it's real crazy. I mean, I have to say, you've definitely, you've definitely changed physically, right? I mean,
yeah.
If you don't know Lachlan's never had a beard before, right? So seeing him with not just like a little stash, or just like a full beard, I mean, it's very different, right? I mean, I'm sure people had that experience with me as well, but what made you want to grow out the beard? Just curious.
Well, I was thinking about it, and then I started just letting it grow a little bit. What is it gonna look like? And then once I had it, I was once I had it, I was I want to keep it, because I cut it one time after I had it. I went barefaced, and I was man, I look like a child now.
Yeah.
It's once you have it, you don't want to get rid of it.
Dude, same here, and it's so much hassle, having to, take it off every time. Because let's face it, the hair just keeps growing.
Fast.
It does, very fast. One thing I'll say about Lachlan, I mean, you've always had some good style, right? But I'll say from 12th grade to now, I think you've definitely style's definitely elevated, man. I mean, I see you got the rings going on.
Yes, I've always just been into fashion, and just I think part of it's being at school and being independent, finding your own thing, and part of it's been just working in sneakers and fashion and seeing other people influence.
And it gives you kind of inspiration, right? And you see these other people, and you're like, wow, I could look like that. I could have that level of just style, be you.
Yeah, it's just finding what you like, and being yourself, and doing just whatever feels right.
Yeah. So a fun fact for the viewers, Lachlan is I can't believe I'm saying this, because when Lachlan was in high school, right? Lachlan was a pretty quiet kid. You wouldn't really think this of him, right? But Lachlan's a rapper.
That's right.
Which is, I mean, like I said, I can't believe I'm saying that, right? When Lachlan released his first album, I was taken back, because I didn't expect something like that from Lachlan. And when that happened, it really made me I guess question do I really know Lachlan? There's something inside of him that I don't know about him, because like I said, Lachlan was very quiet, and like I said, he didn't really say that much, so you really didn't I guess you just don't know what's going on up there.
Yeah. I think it was just something I wanted to do, and I just didn't know how to do it at first. I was producing, making beats for a little bit, and trying to figure it out, and try to figure out how to record stuff. I think for a long time it was I don't know how to do this well, and if I can't do it well, I'm not gonna put it out.
I completely get that. Even with these podcasts and starting the video stuff, for me, I like to it's kind of an all or nothing thing, where it's you don't want to just half-ass it. You want it to be either good or don't do it at all, right? And music is, it's a lot of times it's hit or miss.
Yeah, and if you're gonna put something out and be this is me, I'm putting my name on this, you don't want to give them something that's not good.
Exactly.
And a big part of it too is just taking the jump and actually doing it. Sometimes you just gotta have the balls and just I want to do this, and I'm gonna do it.
You do. What I was really shocked about Lachlan, though, is most people, I would assume, maybe they put a song or two. Lachlan puts out a whole album. I think your first album was 6 songs?
Yeah, that's right.
6 songs. He just boom, threw it out there. I mean, and he just went for it. He didn't talk about it. He just did it. And like I said, I was shocked. So my first question for you is, what inspired this?
it was definitely a thing of just always loving music and wanting to make it, and then just having like urge to try different things and make the songs. Like part of why I wanted to make like I don't like releasing like singles. I like releasing projects because it lets me do like a lot of different stuff and put it out like together. Like I could try to make one type of song and then a different one, and I'll have it come out together because I don't want to just do like one, like stay in one lane the whole time. So, and part of just like what inspired me to like finally take the leap and like release it was just, I think part of it's like being at college and just being like independent, I guess.
Yeah.
Like when you get to college, you realize like, oh, I'm making like every single decision. Like it's just me making the decision, right? So it's like you really realize like I could do like anything I want to, and like sometimes it leads to good things and sometimes it leads to bad things.
That's the catch. That's the catch. And you I feel like getting out of, when you're in high school, right? I don't know if you agree with me on this, but I feel like it's a little bit of like a bubble, right? Where you do, from 7:30 to 2:30, you go to class, and everybody kind of does the same thing, right? But in college, it's different. One, because everyone's schedule is different, but two, you have more time, right? Like a lot of people think college is. I'm not saying it's not harder, but it's just like it's not as regimented, so you have a lot more freedom to do things, right? And with these ideas, they start brewing. Right?
Yeah, like the amount of free time you have is insane, and then you just like the first couple of months you might just be sitting there because maybe you don't like have a lot of activities or friends to do yet, and you're just thinking like, oh, what am I gonna do with all this time? And you have all these ideas, and it's like, why am I just not just taking action and just going and doing stuff?
It's scary, right? I mean, I think fear of failure is one. So you released your first album when? Like you were in college, right?
It was the end of the first semester. It was in December, so it was like the very end of December around Christmas.
Gotcha. Would you say that you've met people at Holy Cross that kind of you really helped ignite that flame, or was it just kind of like you just you did your thing and
I think there's definitely like meeting people and just experiencing life that like influence like the music, because it's like in college, like as opposed to high school, I feel like you like are in the world more like for yourself, and you're experiencing new things, and like sometimes like when you're just sitting around and you want to like create something, it's like I don't even know, like I have no inspiration. I've just been like sitting around, like there's nothing to go off of. But I would say like more like after I released it is when I started connecting with like other music people and other people.
Interesting. So it was almost like a gateway.
Yeah.
Into so like once you released that, everybody was like, well, like I want to talk to this Lachlan kid and see what's going on with him. Like what's
It's like interesting. You have the people that you find out, oh, this person's like great music person. Like he has.
Yeah.
There are people at the school that do radio shows for music.
Yes.
Or that like throw events and they're like, oh, come perform your music or come on my show and do whatever.
Gotcha. Have any of the kids that you met? Do they actually help you make the beats and all that, or is it more just like support? They give you the support.
It's more support and just feedback. I try to get a little bit, and I took a class that was audio recording, which
interesting.
That gave me access to the studio in the school, which is like really huge.
So you actually recorded in the studio at your college?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Obviously, I couldn't do that for this album because it's all made during the summer. This upcoming album.
So how did you do it?
I just did this in my bedroom mostly with laptop, plug-in microphone, headphones.
Good for that, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's wow. How was adjusting to college? How was it for you? Like the first couple months.
It was interesting. I think like right away I was like, okay, let me like try. I think I tried to figure everything out like way like too soon. I didn't have like patience. Like, and I just dived into like things. I was like, okay, this person's gonna be like my friend, this person's gonna do this and whatever, and like you like don't really know these people and things might not work out right away, so it ends up like not really working, and then it doesn't work out in like the first week, and you're like, okay, like I don't really like these people, like what am I gonna do? I have like no friends now.
Yeah,
but
it's definitely,
it's just like a process though, and obviously I have my older brother there, which
is
helps,
nice.
So
does he help you with the music?
Yeah, it's been helping me.
Just for the record, Lachlan's brother, Jackson, he's into music, right? He was a drummer, and well, he is a drummer, but back in the day for the jazz band, which I was in as well, he was like the drummer, but he was really good, right? He was all state, so he.
Yeah, and he's in his own band at college. Yeah.
I'm not shocked, but.
He's been more helping me in terms of like visuals and like album covers, and I'm trying to get him to help me like film stuff because he's one of his majors is film, and he's into all like the artsy stuff.
Dude,
so
that's awesome.
It's helpful to have that.
That's awesome, especially with me starting the podcast. That's something I'm trying to, I guess get the hang of, right? Because it's hard. It's not that it's hard, but it's kind of like what you were saying. Like it's a process where it's not. The deeper you get into it, the harder it becomes. Like right now, okay, I have the video camera, like that's not that hard, but like that's even what you do, like making music. That is, like I said, that audio's gotta be it's gotta be good quality, man. It's gotta be
so much of it is just like the nitpicky stuff, like editing and stuff, and it's just like you really have to like care about it and put a lot of time into like make it like perfect, or else it's like you could just like do it, but it will probably like sound or look weird if you don't like.
If like one little thing is off, right? It throws everything off. It's really it's a symphony, man. You got to get everything. Your lyrics with the music and the timing. Right? I think timing is huge in music. Speaking of lyrics, when you write your songs, right? Do you do you base it on like real events? Or is it more like you just let your imagination flow and whatever comes to your mind is what you.
Sometimes it's what comes to mind, sometimes it's real, sometimes I'll just like, I'll be feeling something and like, usually I'll just write like a couple lines and then, alright, like save it for later, like I'll put it in my phone and I'll like save it. Or I'll write like a hook for the song or a chorus and like save it for later. Or it'll be like whatever. Like it's not always like, okay, I'm gonna go write this song about this thing and just do it.
It's not organized. Like it could happen at, you could be up late at night and just be like, I'm gonna start writing a couple bars for the song, or maybe just whenever, right? Whenever something pops into your mind.
Yeah, it's just whatever. Like I'm inspired by, like. Yeah. So it's not necessarily always like this thing just happened to me. Let me make a song about it. But sometimes it is if that's what like I want to do.
Gotcha. Do you have a favorite song? Because I actually have a favorite song of yours. There's one song in particular that I think is like I listened to it and I was impressed. Like I'm like, this is this is some good stuff.
Well, I'm interested to hear that now.
I know you want to know, but I'm curious what your favorite song is, and then I'll tell you what I think is your best song.
I really like Heart of War off my first album because I produced it, like I made the beat myself and everything, like I did it from scratch. And then on this like upcoming album there's some stuff that hasn't come out yet that I really liked. Like I don't know, because every time I make a new song I'm like, okay, now this is my favorite.
Yeah, I'm sure it changes. It's almost like having kids, it's like each one has their the things you like about them, right? So I'm sure it's hard for you to pick. In my opinion, I think your best song is December 13th.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude, when I heard the, I think the beat on it was phenomenal, right? I think that was number one, but I think the lyrics are really good too, and the way, I don't know, like I feel like that, out of all the songs, like that was for some reason that song stood out to me, and I'm like, whoa, like Lachlan really, again, you're not a guy who I would assume to be like good at rapping, right? And no, like I'm not saying it in an offensive way, but like like I, you know, when I whatever, you know, would talk to you in high school and everything, I never would have thought those things, right? And it just goes to show to the viewers, right? Like you can't make assumptions about people, right? Because you just never know where someone's mind is at. And for December 13th, like I just remember hearing the song, I'm like, wow, like this works, man. Like this is like I can bob my head to this, like regardless of like not, you know, sometimes I think people have you know, they like a song because, you know, their friend made it or something, but this, I felt like for December 13th, like that was a song where I'm like, I don't care who this is, like I actually just straight up like this song. Like I thought that was great, and not that the other songs were bad, it's just that song in particular.
I always like to hear like feedback and what people's favorite things are, because, you know, I try a lot of different stuff, so I never really know. But what's interesting about that song is like, that was like a song I made literally like in one day.
Really?
Like, I wrote that whole song in like probably, I didn't even write it, I don't think. I wrote like maybe 2 lines and then like kind of just sat down and was like, all right, let me just like go off what I'm like thinking and feeling and just like do this.
Yeah. Would you say that song in particular, like you really went by like feel? And you just kind of went, right?
Yeah, well, it's like sometimes I get to get like real meticulous and let me try to like do like some intricate like rhyme, or like let me try to put some like metaphors and double entendres in my things. Or sometimes I'm just like, okay, I'm really like feeling this way right now, I'm really hyped up, or I'm really like angry or sad, so let me just like sit down and just try to like express that however I can.
Yeah. I mean, even I think, I mean, all your beats are good, don't get me wrong, but for that song, that, you know, just the beat and the melody, I mean, it was pretty complex, and I'm just like, wow, like, I've never really heard anything like that before. Sometimes I think the beats, they can be a little generic, but that one was like unique. Like, I've really never heard that, so I was, like I said, I was very impressed. Oh, this is something I want to talk to you about. Okay. Right, so on your Insta, right, like I saw you have like some of these videos, right, and it's like you like jumping around like with a microphone, and like you know, like you have the rap, like the beat going, right, and you're I don't know where you're doing. Yeah, you're doing like a performance. Like where are you doing this? You're not doing this at the college.
So right? I did 2 performances. 2. The first one I did was at school. Okay. And that was at the BSU rodeo. Gotcha. So it was basically like just one of my friends, Curtis, he like hit me up. He was like, he's like some type of event organizer. Like he has an important role in the BSU, and they were throwing this rodeo. And they were doing like live performances, like music and other stuff. Gotcha. So he kind of just hit me up, was like, do you want to like come perform at this? You want to come do some original songs, because we like are looking for like original people to like for entertainment.
Now, you're friends with him prior to this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I wanted to do it. Like I had never done a performance before, I was a little nervous.
Well, let's talk about that, right? Because like I said, you're a pretty shy kid, right? So, like, how did you handle that, being up, you know, in front of a crowd and having to go out there and perform, right? Like, what was your mentality going into that?
I try to like stay loose, like the whole.
Stay relaxed, right?
Yeah, there's a couple hours leading up to it, and you know, I tried to just enjoy the rodeo. Like, I had some of my friends come to watch, and I already knew a bunch of people there, so I was just like having fun, eating the good food and stuff, and just like trying to just like.
Embrace it, man.
Yeah.
Embrace it.
And also, it's just like, whenever like I do a performance, like I took an acting class in the first semester.
Get out of here.
Yeah. And so it's like, whenever I'm like about to have a performance, I like try to like switch on to like, I'm not like in the same mode as like a regular, like I'm not me, like I'm me, but like I'm in performance mode. I'm in rapper mode.
So you have it's like a switch, right?
Yeah, and as soon as like I'm up there, it's like you feel like the energy from like the crowd, and like,
you get into it.
it's like a different type of feeling. Like, you know, it's like
I mean,
crazy adrenaline.
I could tell by those videos it's a different type of feeling because I've never seen you get like that before. You know what I'll say about Lachlan is Lachlan's a pretty like from like an energy standpoint, right? Like or a mood standpoint. You're like a straight line. Like me, sometimes I go up and down. You're like this, you know, like your exciteds aren't like super excited, and your sads aren't like super sad. Right. You know, it's kind of you tread. But when I saw those videos, I'm like, whoa, like this is different, man. This is different, and like I said, it really made me question Lachlan and like, hey, like, do I know this kid? Like, there's stuff that I don't think I know about him, man. And that's why even having him on this podcast was is intriguing, right? Because I'm curious, right? Because I think, see, my question is, would you say that you've changed from high school to college, or would you say it's been in you the whole time? You just didn't have the courage to like embrace that.
Well, that's interesting because when you said, "Did you change?" I was like, "Oh," I was about to say, "Oh yeah, definitely." But then when you said the second part, I was like, "No, right. that's the truth."
That's the truth. So this was always inside you. Yeah. You always wanted to do this. What like when was the moment you're like it came into your mind like, you know, rapping might be something I want to do? Well, was there an epiphanal moment?
I'm trying to think. It was like. I always, like, when I was younger, it'd be, like, a thing, like, a daydreaming thing.
Really?
Yeah, it was, because I, like, daydream a lot about different stuff.
You do?
But that was always, like, the main thing, like, thinking of, rapping, and, like, I would daydream about, like, performances on big stages and, like, different, like, albums and ideas I could do. And I just, like,
How old were you at this time, though? How old were you?
Like, I want to say since, like, middle school, high school.
Wow. Okay, so it's been a while.
Yeah.
So this has been brewing.
Yeah, and it was just never, it was like always like a thing I was like, oh, that would be like cool, but I never thought I could actually do it until like more recently.
Yeah. I have to say, I really liked the trailer for Locked In, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it was like Cut the BS or something. And it was the way you set that up, man, that was awesome. I mean, but you feel that, right? You really, like, I could, from my standpoint, I felt like you were really like felt that. Man.
Yeah, because that was the whole like idea and mindset for that album. Because I felt like I was just at a period where I was like, okay, let me like really like
get after this.
Yeah, right? Get after this. Yeah, and it's like I just didn't want like any like BS stuff on that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to like go hard and make like hype, exciting stuff, really.
And it's exactly what you did. How many songs was that album? Like 8, 7?
I believe, yeah, it's 8 songs.
8 songs, yeah. So far you have 14 songs.
Yeah.
I mean, for the viewers, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, 14, you know how hard it is to make one song, let alone 14? Crazy. Another question for you. So when you're making the songs, right, do you usually write the lyrics out first, or do you get a beat and then make the lyrics? What's the process?
Yeah, I usually do write the lyrics first.
Okay.
Just because that's like the first, like when I listen to music, a lot of times that's like what I pay attention to is lyrics first. I notice like different people when they listen to music, I notice they'll like hear different things. Like some people tell me, oh, the beat sounds really good. Oh, you said this here. Like, but I usually think about like the lyrics. So I'll like write stuff down and not know like what I'm gonna use it for, or not necessarily have like a beat in mind. And then sometimes I'll make a beat, or I'll find a beat and I'll be like, okay, I know like what vibe goes with this, or what lyrics I could use for this.
Would you say that you get like all these different lyrics, right? And then you get all these different beats and you just kind of try to...
Sometimes I'll record a song like 3 times over like 3 different beats, and I'm like...
Really? So interesting. That's very interesting. Okay. Huh. Now another thing I want to talk to you about. So, you know, you got the drip, right? And another thing, Lachlan's a big shoe guy, right? I mean, when we were in high school, Lachlan always had his Air Forces, and those things were on point, sharp, clean. I mean, there wasn't a scratch on them, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's
favorites. Yeah.
Come on, I think that's fair to say. Now you work at a shoe store, right? And it's in the city.
Mm-hmm.
So where did that come about, right? Because let's face it, you live in Massapequa, so the city. I'm just curious, where in the city?
Well, we have 3 locations.
3 locations. Do you work at all 3?
No, I work at 2 of them. Gotcha. One of them is in India. That's just
okay. Let's not even go there.
Let's
right?
not even.
Let's not go there. But
the 2 are. There's one in Long Island City, Queens, which is like, it's like right where Long Island hits like Queens. Yeah. It's not really like Long Island at all. It's Queens.
It's Queens. Really. Let's face the facts.
It's Queens. Right? Like, you told people like I'm on Long Island City, and they're like, oh, that's like close, right? It's in Queens. It's in Queens.
So Queens, and then what's the other location?
Manhattan, Lower East Side.
Lower East Side. I'm gonna pretend like I know where that is. I don't, but gotcha. How far is the drive? Pretty far, right? Like 40?
Yeah, I take the train.
You take the train?
It's like an hour, like total.
So I'm curious, so what made you want to work there? I mean, think about this, right? I mean, you could have worked anywhere. And you work at this shoe shop in Queens and Manhattan, right? So what, how did you get into that? I mean, what's the story?
Obviously, I was always into fashion. I was like, okay, maybe this is something I could do for work because like I'm interested in it and I'm passionate about it. So I have like a family friend that owns this like company, the store.
Gotcha.
So I basically contacted him like, what do you think about like doing internship? I started it in the winter, like on that like Christmas break, and it was like 2-3 weeks maybe, and one of the weeks was with the creative team in like the office. The other 2 weeks were in store. The
creative team.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds like fun. Like, don't tell me like designing shoes.
It wasn't like that's what they do, but it was like we did like photo shoots.
And you got to be a part of that.
Yeah, it was super sick.
A cool experience.
Yeah.
So once you worked there for those 2 to 3 weeks, were you like, I love this place. I'm going back over the summer.
Yeah, and during spring break I was back for 1 week just because I like wanted to do something. And so for the summer I was like, yeah, this seems like it just makes sense to do it.
So at this place, right? I mean, they have. I'm assuming it's like a real deal type of place where they have like almost any shoe you can imagine, right?
Yeah.
I mean, is that fair to say?
Yeah. So the store is called Extra Butter. Extra Butter?
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. It's Extra Butter because it's like movie themed. So it's
okay.
Like
in what sense?
Like at the Queen store, we have like candy that we'll sell, and like candy. A projector screen.
And you watch movies?
Yeah. So, at the other store, we just did a screening we released like a shirt, and it said like Extra Butter, and it was like extra like a news headline, like a newspaper, and the movie we watched for the release was Mrs. Doubtfire.
Okay.
So that was like last week. But yeah, that's just like, it's basically just shoes, clothes, and it's like elevated though. Like
it's right? Yeah. Now, I know you've met a couple relatively famous people, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Have you met them at the store? Like where do you meet these people?
Yeah, I met a lot of like cool people through the store.
Yeah. Because, you look on Lachlan's Insta page, man, he's taking pictures with all these people with like, a couple million followers. So, I mean, that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah. So,
and these guys are rappers, right?
Yeah.
Dude, that's sick.
During the spring break, I was back for 1 week, and we just happened to that week have an event where the rapper Fabio Foreign was coming. So, and we like stuck him in the basement, and I was like in the basement like grabbing shoes, and like I just see him like come in with like 10 other dudes, and they're like all black, and I'm like, oh, that's obviously him, right?
Yeah. So what did you did you get to talk to him a little bit?
I was just kind of like, hey, what's up? And like he did his performance, and he had to like go. It was like really tight security.
Yeah.
The other guy that I just met recently, Denzel Curry, I talked to him a little bit, but I was more just like, oh, I'm so excited for your album that's coming out. And then, because he was like on the way out, and I was like, wait, can I get a picture?
Oh, that's funny, man. But I mean, it's cool that you get to be surrounded by, you know, these levels, these level of you know, artists, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be inspiring to, you know, just be around those people, you know.
It's cool to see like they're just like regular people, like they're
they're
they're just at the same events I'm at, and they're like chatting up with people, and you could like even like less famous people than that, like producers and other rappers,
they
like
come in, right?
they come in, and I like they'll actually talk to me, like we'll have phone conversations.
Anything? Did you get any insight from some of them that you were like, wow, like this is a really good point that so and so made?
I think the biggest thing is just I was talking to this one guy, BC. He's a rapper from I want to say like Carolina, like North Carolina, and he was telling me like you just gotta like find your own lane and really like hone your craft there. Like as long as you're like happy about what you're doing, like you'll be good. Like you don't want to like, and the way I interpret that is like you don't like need to like copy people. You don't need to like cater to people necessarily.
That I think that's what I see is you have to, as long as you love your music.
Yeah.
That's what counts. You know what I mean? Because you know certain people might tell you, oh, do this, do that, do this, but if you don't love it, then it's like it's like it kind of takes it like.
It's not telling you like make it like this, make it like this. It's like I don't want to do that. It's not going to come out.
Exactly. They might prefer it that way, but you know, and that's the thing with music and just art in general, right? Everything's subjective.
Right.
Some people might say, Lachlan, to be honest with you, I don't like your music. And then other people might be like, Lachlan, man, you have like the best music ever.
Yeah, and that's like something I noticed, and I never really like thought about it before until you know I put my stuff out. Like people like different things. Like some people might like one song and not like another one. Like people will tell me like their favorite song from the album, I'll be like, oh, no one else said that.
Exactly. Gotta stay hydrated, man. Gotta stay hydrated. So when you're at the shoe store, right? Like, what would you say is like your main job? Like, do you just help people find the shoe that they want?
Yeah, my main job is just helping on the floor, mostly just like helping customers whatever they want to do, like showing people where things are, helping like get things for them to try on, or talking to them about like what stuff is.
Yeah. Is it a big place?
It's like a small. It's not like a small store, but it's not like a huge like.
I feel like it's one of those stores that's like not that big, but it's got like a massive basement, and it's just got like tons and tons of shoes.
Yeah, it's got a. Yeah, you're right.
Like, right?
Yeah, it's more like. It's not like a huge area, but it is like we're gonna get all the shoes that come out, and we're gonna like, and the brand is gonna be like seen as big.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's known, right? It's known through the grapevine, like, because you know that's what's funny about the city is that a lot of like really good places, a lot of times are they're very low key, which I think is so ironic. You know, sometimes the places that are lit up all fancy aren't always the place. You know, I mean, even I'll say, like even with pizza, right? Like some of the greatest pizza places in the city is like these little corner places that just are very unassuming. You know, nothing flashy, but you know the pizza speaks for itself. So
you just hear about it, and it's like, oh, you gotta go to this place.
So like word on the street, rumor has it, right? Yeah. This place is the place. I got another question for you. So you said you took an acting class, right? And then you also took a recording class.
Yeah, that's right.
So you're not a music major, are you?
No, I'm actually an English major.
English major?
Concentration in creative writing.
Interesting. What made you want to... I mean, I think we talked about this, but not... I'm not sure. I think you might have said you were going to go undecided, right?
I did go undecided, and I didn't even declare until, like, the end of this past semester. Like, I didn't...
Wow.
Yeah.
So what made you want to major in English?
I just always liked my English classes, and it was, like, more... just like I felt like it was more like open to like doing different things. Like
now it's like
yeah,
strict, right? Like I'll say, like even with you know, stuff in the medical field, right? Like it's like boom, as soon as you're in the medical field, it's like all right, anatomy, biology, chemistry, physics. Like you got to all these classes, boom, 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 and you don't really have time to like try different stuff out.
That's a lot of stuff. Like I wanted to try different stuff out in the first couple semesters, which is why I took some of those classes. But in English, it's not like because I hate when it's like okay, you have to take this class, and then it's like just a terrible class.
Yeah.
English, like they have a lot of different classes, so you could like kind of figure out what you're like, which ones you're interested in.
After taking, you know, the acting class and the actually let's just talk about that, right? Like so you took an acting class.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, how was it? Like what was what did it entail?
So it's an interesting class. It's 2 hours long basically.
Like once a week?
Twice a week, yeah.
Okay. Pretty beautiful.
And it's like just intro to acting, so a lot of it's just like getting comfortable like performing and just being like some of it's like learning like scripts and like basic acting like vocabulary and ideas. But the big things were like the performances, which was like it would like build up to them.
Gotcha. Did you ever get nervous, like even with, you know, the 2 performances you had for rapping, like do you ever get worried that you're gonna forget the lyrics?
I don't think so really. In the first performance, because I had never done it, I like thought about it, but also like I'm always like good with lyrics, like even if it's not my song, like I usually know all the lyrics. But the main things I was thinking about is like, what if like I say the lyrics like at the wrong time, or like what if I like miss like the beat drops? Because like when I'm performing, I want to like know.
Gotcha.
Because there's one like in Heart of War, like at a certain point in the song it goes like, boom, boom, boom. It goes like 1, 2, 3, 4 like beat slams, like just like And I wanted to like jump up and down like 4 times like when it did it. And I did, like it worked for the performance, but it was like I rehearsed like 2 or 3 times before it to like get it down, because I was like, I don't want to like miss.
I completely get that. You know what I mean?
I even like filmed myself on like doing a rehearsal, and then.
Do you find that helps you?
Yeah, because I was looking at it, and even when I did the performance, and I think the video that I put up of the performance is I could, because I was looking at it, I was like, I have a video from rehearsal where I did the same exact thing, like movement for movement. So I'm like, it must have been like muscle memory.
You know, Lachlan, I have to say, you've really come a long way. I mean, it's amazing how much you've just, you know, changed and developed and within literally 1 year. So I have to give it to you.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, of course.
And same to you also.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. But how do your parents feel about it? Like, you know, you getting into all this?
You know, sometimes it's like hard to kind of get like a read on it. Like, of course they're always like supportive, but some like part of it's just like, I don't really know if you like get it, because like they don't really like listen to the music I make.
Yeah.
And part of it's like, do you see like I'm like taking it seriously, or do you think I'm like just doing this like for like whatever? Like, is it like, I just don't know like how they view it, to be honest.
Yeah, like they can't tell if it's more of a hobby or like this is what you want to do.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? Like, is this something you want to like do you find it more of a hobby or more as like a you know, maybe eventually a career path?
I think I don't look at it as a hobby, because I take it so serious and I'm so passionate about it. Whether or not it would be a career path is like I believe that like I'm capable of doing it, and I would definitely like try to do it, but it's not like, okay, I'm gonna like.
You're not like setting yourself.
I'm not like all in on this. Like I'm also in school. I'm also like working in fashion. Like, and these are all different things I'm passionate about.
That's awesome. Where do you think you get this passion from? Is it just something within you, or?
I think there is something in me that just like wants to like express itself and just be creative. and like part of that goes to fashion, part of that goes to music or whatever it is.
I mean, if you really think about it, Lachlan, it's all intertwined. Like all those three things.
It's all like art, and I guess that's like even Jackson is like that. Like my brother.
I was gonna say he's like I'm assuming he's very supportive of what you're doing.
Yeah.
He's probably honestly he's probably your rock right now. I'm assuming
he's helpful because he, even if he doesn't like, isn't super into like rap music or anything like that, he's always like
he gets it
there. Like he's like there at the performances, like filming, jumping up and down, or like he's like, he knows like, okay, this is like what he wants to do.
Yeah. How about your little bros?
I don't really hear much about
They don't, right? They're just like whatever.
Yeah.
Man. I mean, this is a little off topic, but you know, going to Lachlan's house is really quite an experience, right? We would go there for poker, and it was real interesting because I mean, first thing is, right, you know, Lachlan's got little brothers, so you know, in my mind, like I expected his little brothers to be like small, like real, you know, like really small, but they're like his first little brother's like 6 foot, and then the other guy, I mean, he's really young. I mean, what is he, like 5th grade, 4th grade?
He just graduated 5th grade.
So just graduated 5th, and with him, it's another interesting thing about Lachlan and his brothers is that they all look pretty similar, right? So especially the youngest one, what's his name, Niall?
Yeah.
So Niall is like, he literally looks like Lachlan, but you know, 10 years younger or whatever. So it was so cool to see like almost like a little Lachlan, you know? So I always thought that was very cool. Another thing I'll say is, you know, I do miss your mom's cooking. I just had chicken today, and not even close to Mrs. MacLeod's chicken. I'm telling you, you know, when you think about like grilled chicken, right? You know, it's a health food, which that's great and everything, but a lot of times like grilled chicken is always so dry and bland. I go over to Lachlan's house, somehow, some way, Mrs. MacLeod makes this chicken taste so good. I'll go so far to say, like, your mother's grilled chicken is probably the best grilled chicken I've ever had.
I think me too.
Dude, come on. It's unreal. It's unreal. And I feel like your mom, she makes it like look so effortless. Like she just like like nowhere to be found. She just, I don't know, it just appears and she's like, here's some food. I'm like, oh, this is great.
She's just so good with the cooking.
Dude, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
That's like when I'm at work and I'm like, oh man, I can't wait till I get home because I know. Like,
you know you're getting your mother's cooking, which is, I mean, come on, that's pretty awesome. I mean, if we're being honest here, like one of the reasons, like, I enjoy going to poker. Like, don't get me wrong, poker's fun and all. I mean, I'm not really a big poker guy to this day, but that was definitely a highlight of the experience. I'm not gonna lie, or I'm not gonna sit here and you know, I'm gonna give it to you straight. So, Lachlan, you have any advice to the viewers if they have a passion but they're just too afraid to take that first step, to take that leap of faith?
My advice would be I guess it would just be to figure out, like, if you know this is going to make you happy, like, why wouldn't you do it? And, you know, and I think you're probably going to say to yourself, oh, I'm scared of, like, what other people will think and stuff like that. But if you look at anyone that's, like, happy or successful, like, they're doing what they want to do. And really, what I would say is, like, you could literally do anything you want. Like, you, like, have the ability to do anything you want. So why would you not choose to do that? Like,
agreed. I think people have to realize that, you know, you only have one life, right?
Yeah.
You got one shot at you know, doing what you want to do, and if you don't take advantage of that opportunity, it'll go away, right? Like things, you know, we're only 19 time for 1 year, and you know, life moves on. So why not try things? You know, like I feel like life is too short not to try things.
Yeah, I like hate the feeling of being like stuck. Like I'm like not doing anything. I'm not like advancing, and I have like these things I want to do. Like I'm just gonna do it. Like I'm just gonna move forward and try, like, see what.
You can't go wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't go wrong. Like, there's really no downside of it other than criticism, right? So, how do you handle criticism? I mean, I don't know how much, if you've received any, right? But does that ever affect what you're doing?
In the beginning, I think more recently I've started to realize, like, how to deal with it, and it's more just thinking, it's more like it's yourself. It's just, am I being, like, honest when I'm making my art? Am I, like, doing what makes me happy? Like, if I'm, like, loving to do this, then, like, what other people saying, it shouldn't, like, dictate, like, your actions.
Gotcha. Anything else you want to talk about, or say to the viewers?
Well, I would say to everyone that my album is coming out August 9th.
August 9th. So this is your third album, right?
Yeah, that's right.
What is it called?
Locked and Loaded.
Locked and Loaded, guys. So shout out to Lachlan and his. Do you like? Is your artist name just called Lachlan or like
Lach?
Lach. So check it out, August 9th. I'll put the link down in the video, and and check out a song or two. I'm sure you guys will like it, and I think, I mean, I've never heard the songs, right? But based on what you've done before, I'm sure you're gonna do a great job, and it's just gonna get better and better. So
yeah, of course.
Absolutely, Lachlan. It's been a pleasure, man.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Peace.